The men's first team will play 2 pre-season friendlies this coming Saturday, one against Wycombe Hotspur away behind closed doors and the other at Kenilworth Road away at Luton. Various reports are stating that Tottenham remain interested in 30-year-old midfielder João Palhinha of Bayern Munich. Los Angeles are apparently interested in Spurs captain Heung-Min Son, according to The Athletic, and Ashley Phillips has just rejoined Stoke City on loan for the 2025-2026 campaign. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. This is another edition of Tottenham News, where I'll be going through all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And if you do have a spare minute, please do vote for us at the Football Content Awards 2025. All of the details are below. Thank you. Right, let's start with all of the official news released by Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Ashley Phillips has rejoined Championship side Stoke City on loan for the 2025-2026 season. Arriving from Blackburn Rovers in August 2023, the defender spent last season on loan with Stoke City, making 39 appearances in all competitions, scoring once. Part of our senior matchday squad on 8 occasions, the 20-year-old has previously spent time on loan with Plymouth Argyle. To date, Ashley has represented England up to under 20 level. On Tuesday evening, the Tottenham Hotspur under-21s were in pre-season action away at Leyton Orient at the Bet Right Stadium, losing 3-1. Thompson scored Tottenham's goal in the second half. And on Wednesday afternoon, the Tottenham Hotspur under-18s battled back from a 2-0 half-time deficit to draw 2-2 with Cork City under-19s in Ireland. Now for a couple of fixture changes. The Premier League's broadcast selection process for September has now been completed, with 2 of our matches selected for television coverage. Our derby against West Ham United at the London Stadium remains on Saturday the 13th of September, but will now kick off slightly later at 5:30 p.m. live on Sky Sports. Meanwhile, our home game against Wolves will move from Saturday the 27th of September to Sunday the 28th of September, also live on Sky Sports. Kickoff has now changed to 2 p.m. It has also been noted that Wolves is subject to further rescheduling depending on our UEFA Champions League Matchday 2 fixture the following week on the 30th of September or the 1st of October. We will know more after the draw for the league phase of the Champions League has been made on the 28th of August. Tottenham Hotspur Football Club have confirmed that Oliver Boast has joined our academy from Leeds United. The 16-year-old England youth international links up with our under-18s as a first-team scholar, joining the initial 10 young players who went full-time with us in that year group at the start of this month. Now, this coming Saturday, the men's first team will travel to Kenilworth Road to play Luton Town in our second pre-season friendly. Now, the under-21s will also be in action this coming Saturday away at Woking at the same time, but the club have just announced an additional pre-season friendly has been arranged for our men's first team on Saturday. Prior to our trip to Kenilworth Road to face League One side Luton at 3 p.m, we will also take on Wycombe Wanderers, also of League One, in a behind closed doors match at Hotspur Way, kick-off time 11 a.m. The additional game has been arranged to allow Thomas Frank an opportunity to hand more match minutes to more players on Saturday. Both fixtures will be contested by the first team squad, with players divided into 2 groups to compete in the respective games. Now, this is what Thomas Frank had to say about the situation.
So Saturday we not only go to Luton, but we also play Wycombe here at the training ground. What's the reason behind the extra game?
Yeah, the extra game we wanted in because we like to give as many players as possible, as many match minutes as possible, so they would be in the best possible position. So that means that we, a little bit like against Reading, will play two even strong teams, and they will play as many minutes as possible. Let's say 60 to 75, maybe a little bit more. So we need to get through the next days, but in the end of the week, Saturday afternoon, hopefully 22 players will have played a lot of match minutes, and they'll be in a very good place before we go on tour.
So what are you hoping to actually achieve from those two games?
Of course, the physical loading, but also the next step is building more on our offensive principles. So the phase 1, the phase 2, and also the breakthroughs in terms of how we can produce chances and hopefully score.
Now, the club have confirmed that the Wycombe Wanderers game will be broadcast live on Spurs Play in addition to the Luton game. They have stated on the website that they will be on air just before 11 a.m. with live coverage of the game against Wycombe at Hotspur Way before they head over to Kenilworth Road for full live coverage of the game against Luton. Kick-off time 3 p.m. Now for a couple of reports from Sky Germany. They are stating that Tottenham Hotspur are monitoring João Palhinha's situation. It is not concrete at this stage, but there is interest from Spurs. João Palhinha's camp has been informed. Bayern are open to talks should suitable offers arrive for the 30-year-old. And they have also stated that rumours linking Rodrygo of Real Madrid with Tottenham Hotspur are wide of the mark. He is not a target for Spurs. Now, a little bit more on the possible signing of João Palhinha of Bayern Munich. Of course, the former Fulham midfielder. Reports in Germany are stating that the player is determined to make it at Bayern Munich and he wants to stay in Germany for the 2025-2026 campaign. Manchester Evening News have stated that Manchester City have no plans to re-enter the race to sign Tottenham Hotspur target and Nottingham Forest star Morgan Gibbs-White, despite Nottingham Forest hoping that another club comes in to sign the England international. The Athletic have just reported that MLS side Los Angeles Football Club are pushing hard to sign Tottenham Hotspur star and captain Heung-Min Son in this summer transfer window. So my thoughts on everything in this episode. Let's start by talking about the two pre-season friendlies for the men's first team on Saturday. In fact, we have three teams playing on Saturday. The under-21s are away at Woking. The men's first team will, of course, be split up. Half of them at Hotspur Way playing Wycombe at 11 o'clock. And then half of them at Kenilworth Road away at Luton at 3 p.m. So they will actually be split up into three separate teams on Saturday. And when you think the likes of Jamie Donnelly, Will Lancashire, Dane Scarlett, Heung-Min Son, they were all in the starting 11 against Leyton Orient on Tuesday for the Spurs under-21. So Thomas Frank is obviously trying to get as many minutes in these players' legs as possible. And I think it's a great idea, actually. We haven't really seen this type of thing happen before. And I think it's perfect. You know, these players are going to be getting on the plane. Not all of them. It'll be interesting to see whether one or two will stay, whether one or two will get their respective loans, whether we will sell a player or two. There are always players that end up staying behind for various reasons. So that is going to be an interesting one, who the squad is for the Asia tour to Hong Kong and South Korea. I do expect the team to fly out pretty much after those games against Wycombe and Luton. So if it isn't Saturday evening, it will certainly be on Sunday, and they will travel to Asia for our pre-season tour. Against Arsenal and Newcastle, respectively. But a great idea from the club, a great idea from Thomas Frank to try and get as many minutes in the legs as possible for all squad members. It is very, very important. So let's go on to talk about Ashley Phillips going out on loan. Of course, he was an unused sub in our first pre-season friendly against Reading. We bought him a couple of years ago. Hasn't really been given a chance by Ange Postecoglou or now Thomas Frank. He's literally going straight out the door. So he won't be getting any minutes in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt this season. He has gone out to Stoke again. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with him and his future. You know, he's been a Spurs player for 2 years, hasn't been given a chance at all. And we are actively looking at more centre-backs, and we've signed centre-backs in this transfer window. So when will he ever get a chance? Will he ever get a chance in a Spurs shirt? Now, apparently there is interest in Heung-Min Son again. Like I've said many, many times, there will always be interest in a player like this, because we know that Heung-Min Son on his day can certainly deliver. However, he was extremely disappointing against Reading on Saturday. I just hope that whatever the issue is at the moment, it sorts itself out very quickly, because I must admit, Son did not look his happy, normal self. For 10 years he has been a Spurs player, and I don't think I've ever seen him looking so down before the game, during the warm-up, after the match. He looked very, very disappointed. He looked very, very down. So whatever the issue is, I hope that does resolve itself very, very quickly, because a player like Heung-Min Son, we're going to be playing Luton. I would expect him to be at that Luton game in front of the fans, because of course the other one against Wycombe will be behind closed doors at Hotspur Way. So I would imagine Son would be one of those players travelling to Kenilworth Road at Luton. And of course, he is absolutely huge in South Korea. So, of course, he will certainly be on that plane to Hong Kong and South Korea. And I just want to see Sonny with that big smile on his face, because we are so used to seeing that and have seen it so many times in his time at Spurs the last 10 years, particularly winning the Europa League back in May. Tottenham remain interested in João Palhinha of Bayern Munich. Now, I've seen so many reports that Spurs apparently want to have him on loan rather than actually a permanent deal. I've seen reports stating that Bayern Munich are asking for around £30 million, but Spurs only want to pay £20 million. So there is such a mixture of reports. I tell you what, he was a great player for Fulham in the Premier League, and he picked up a lot of yellow cards, went in, really good player, breaking up play, playing the ball forward, and received a lot of yellow cards because he broke up play, and he put in a number of great challenges. Would this be a good signing for Tottenham? In my opinion, yes, it would. The Sun have also reported that if Spurs sign João Palhinha, or indeed another midfielder, which is the target, Thomas Frank apparently does want another midfielder in this transfer window, then it looks like that Yves Bissouma would be the most likely to go out the door. Like I said, I feel like it's going to be very interesting to see whether there be one or two first-team players, first-team regulars that are not on that plane to Asia. That will be very telling. But in terms of the transfer window, as I will always say, and as I've said consistently through this window, we need to do a whole lot more. The Morgan Gibbs-White situation, that seems to have gone very, very quiet. Of course, he didn't get on the plane to go to Portugal because of personal reasons. Apparently, he is going to be linking up with the Nottingham Forest squad later this week, either on Thursday or Friday. So let's see what happens there. Personally, I'm hoping that Spurs do get the deal done for Morgan Gibbs-White, because he is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League right now, and a player like that could really change the quality in this team, the starting 11, and that is exactly what Spurs need. And we need signings in. We really do. I said at the start of this window, I believe that Spurs need 4, 5, 6 really decent, experienced players, and I stand by that. Mohamed Kudus has come in, really good performance on Saturday away at Reading, and I hope to see more of that, and I can't wait to see more of him. A very, very exciting talent, and like I say, in that final third, he can deliver, he can assist, he can score goals, so very, very excited to see more of him. And also talking about the Reading game and the under-21 game away at Leyton Orient, you just want to see, as a fan, you want to see players taking their opportunities, particularly the young players, because the young players in the last couple of pre-seasons, they were very, very impressive. They gave absolutely everything. And then Thomas Frank has a big decision on his hands. What does he do with certain players? Does he loan certain players out? Luka Vluzovic, it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. Do we keep him? Do we loan him out? Is he going to get enough game time if we do keep him at the club? So a lot of big decisions need to be made by the football club and, of course, most importantly, Thomas Frank on his squad. But in terms of the transfer window, Spurs need to get some business done and quick, in my opinion. Mbeumo's gone off to Manchester United. Of course, various reports for the last couple of weeks have been stating if either him or Wissa go, the other one will stay. Now, Wissa seems to be unhappy. He's left the camp in Portugal. So he now wants a move. Newcastle apparently have put an offer in. Spurs remain interested. I know a lot of people are getting really frustrated by that term of Spurs keep being interested in players because, of course, we as fans want to see that interest turn into, a signature on a contract and then them holding up the shirt and then, of course, us improving our team. When that next signing comes through the door, your guess is as good as mine at the moment because there don't seem to be many players that we're being linked with. Apart from Rodrygo, of course, which as soon as I saw that report, I did laugh. And you know what? I didn't even put that in a 60-second update because, when you see a report like that, it's absolute rubbish because that is never going to happen. Let's be realistic. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you listen to this on an audio platform, please do hit the follow button and leave a review if you can. If you do get a spare minute, please do vote for us at the Football Content Awards 2025. Your support is really appreciated. Thank you. Have a great week. I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe and well. Come on, you Spurs.